All right, let's dive in. In the corporate world, there's a huge, quiet revolution happening right under our noses, and it's all about employee training. Today, we're going to unpack how artificial intelligence is completely flipping the script, turning learning from a chore into a seriously powerful personal experience.
So let me ask you something, and be honest. Does this question hit a little too close to home? If you're a manager or you work in L&D, you probably know the feeling. You pour a ton of time and money into training, but you're left wondering, is any of this actually sticking? Well, it turns out the root of this massive challenge can be boiled down to one pretty shocking number.
24 minutes. That's it. Let that sink in for a second. That is the average amount of time an employee can carve out for any kind of formal learning in a typical week. When you're working with a window that tiny, it's no wonder the old one-size-fits-all approach is just completely broken.
And that, right there, brings us to the core of the modern learning dilemma. If you've only got 24 minutes to make an impact, a generic, off-the-shelf training course is basically doomed before it even starts. The workforce today is incredibly diverse, everyone's on the move, and people have totally different needs and skill levels. The old way of doing things, one boring slide deck for everybody, it just can't keep up.
Yeah, and these challenges create this frustrating ripple effect. I mean, think about it. You're forcing an expert on your team to sit through beginner material. What a waste of their time, right? And their engagement just plummets. Or you fail to adapt to how different people learn, so you end up alienating half your team. And for your younger digital native employees, this old static way of learning feels completely ancient, totally out of step with the on-demand world they live in.
Okay, but this is where it gets really exciting, because the solution to this whole dilemma is here, and it's AI personalized learning. And look, this isn't just some small tweak. We're talking about a fundamental, game-changing shift away from those rigid, static courses and into dynamic, individual learning journeys for every single person.
This comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? Instead of generic courses, you get content that's actually tailored to you. Instead of one pace for everybody, it's totally adaptive. But for me, the biggest change is that last one. Training stops being this one-time, check-the-box event and becomes this continuous, ongoing part of your actual daily work.
So, to really get your head around this analogy is just perfect. Think about how Netflix seems to magically know what you want to watch next, right? Or how an app like Duolingo gets harder or easier based on how you're doing. Now, just apply that same smart, personalized logic to building professional skills. That's exactly what AI and learning feels like. So how does this magic actually happen? How can one system possibly create a totally unique learning experience for every single employee on a team? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but incredibly powerful process.
It's really just a simple three-step dance. First, the AI analyzes everything. It looks at the learner's existing skills, their job role, how they're progressing, even what kind of content they prefer. Then, it adapts the learning path on the fly in real time. And finally, it delivers the perfect piece of content in just the right format at the exact moment it's going to be most useful.
And this first part, adaptive learning paths, is a total game changer. The AI figures out what topics you've already mastered and just lets you skip them. No more wasting time. But on the flip side, if you're struggling with a concept, it'll serve up extra resources, maybe a different video or some practice questions. It basically acts like your own personal tutor who's always available.
And remember that 24-minute problem? This is how AI solves it. It's brilliant at micro-learning, breaking down huge, complex topics into these tiny, bite-sized lessons that you can knock out on your phone. But it's not just about small content, it's about smart timing. The system can send you a little nudge, maybe a quick 2-minute quiz while you're waiting for coffee, seamlessly fitting learning right into your day.
And check this out. Here's a super powerful example of it in action, the AI coach. Just imagine every single employee having a 24/7 expert right in their pocket. They can ask a quick question like, "Hey, what's ROI again?" and get an instant, clear answer. This gets rid of that fear of asking what you think is a dumb question and makes sure nobody ever gets left behind. It's amazing.
Okay, the technology is obviously really cool, but let's talk about what really matters to any business, the bottom line. Because this is the point where AI-powered learning stops being a nice-to-have and becomes a serious strategic advantage. We're about to see how it transforms training from just another expense into a high-return investment.
First off, let's look at engagement. The data here is, well, it's not even close.
a massive 72% of employees find AI-enhanced learning way more engaging than the old-school methods. And engagement is everything, right? An engaged team learns faster, remembers more, and ultimately performs way better.
So, what does all that great engagement get you? Speed, pure and simple. By focusing only on what an employee actually needs to learn, these AI systems can boost learning efficiency by up to 57%. That means your teams get the skills they need faster so they can start applying them on the job sooner. Now, this next one is absolutely huge, especially in today's job market. We're talking about keeping your best people. Turns out, companies that build a strong learning culture using this kind of personalized training can see up to 50% higher employee retention. It makes perfect sense. People want to stay where they feel like the company is truly investing in their personal growth.
And hey, the benefits aren't just for the learners. What about the L&D teams who have to manage all this stuff? Well, by automating a ton of the boring routine tasks, AI can slash the time it takes to manage these programs by 30%. This frees up your training experts to focus less on spreadsheets and more on high-value strategy and coaching.
So, we've walked through the problem, the AI solution, and the incredible business payoff. But this whole field is moving at lightning speed. So, what's next? What's just around the corner? Well, the future looks even more mind-blowing, to be honest. We're talking about generative AI that can create brand new custom training videos and documents on the fly. Virtual coaches that let you practice tough conversations, like negotiating a deal in a totally safe space. Predictive analytics that will help us train people for the skills the business will need 6 months from now, not 6 months ago. And of course, blending all of this with AR and VR for hands-on learning that we couldn't even dream of before.
Which really brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial question of all. The technology is here, the benefits are proven, and they are huge. So it's time to take a hard look at your own organization and ask, is our approach to learning built for the future, or are we stuck in the past? Because honestly, the answer to that question could define your company's success for years to come.